Hi everyone, my name is Lee Mei Yi. Today, my friends and I would like to tell you about the protection of intellect, al-akal, in the Islamic legal system. First and foremost, of course, let me introduce to you briefly about the maqasid sharia. Literally, maqasid is the plural form of maqsad and maqsid, which is derived from the Arabic word qasada. In Arabic, the word maqasid refers to a purpose, objective, principle, intent, or end. Sharia, which is also spelled as Sharia, is an Arabic term meaning the path to be followed. It is the standard of morals and lives. Literally, according to Al-Quran, Surah 18 of Al-Jadiyah, Sharia is the path to the watering place, the clear path to be followed. Generally, most of the scholars agree that the maqasid sharia is to serve the interests of human being and prevents harm for the human being. The book Al-Muwafaqat fi Usul as-Sharia, which was written by Al-Imam as-Shatibi, who was the first master in this field, included a chapter of maqasid al-Sharia. Nevertheless, before his work, there was also a scholar which gave a good basis for the field of maqasid sharia. He was Al-Imam al-Juwayni. The concept brought by Al-Imam al-Juwayni is not that enough comprehensive compared with the concept that brings by Al-Imam as-Shatibi. But it is a good basis for which it can expand by the other scholar afterward. The objective of Sharia can be divided into three main categories, which represent their varying degrees of necessity. There are three necessities of levels, which are the daruriyat, essentials, the hajiyat, needs, and tahsiniyat, luxuries. Daruriyat, essentials, is the first level of necessity, including the essence of a human being. Without this, it will cause harm and damage to human life. Some examples of essential elements are food and clothes. This necessity had been classified by the scholar with 5 elements, which are protection of faith or religion, al-din, protection of life, al-nafs, protection of intellect or mind, al-akal, protection of the lineage or dignity, al-nasal, and protection of property, al-mal. Next, the hajiyat, needs, is less essential to a human beings if compared with the daruriyat, essentials. Without this, it is not a matter for a human to live in this world. For instance, marriage and trade. The third level of necessity, which is tahsiniyat, luxuries, refers to the things that are additional value to our life. With these things, we will have a better life. Islam encourages Muslims to achieve this level of necessity, but it must be obtained accurately. For example, luxury cars and bungalows. So now, do you clarify the meaning of maqasid sharia and the objective of sharia? Yes, right. Next, I will pass it to my friend BALQIS, and she will tell you more information about the definition of akal. Let's go!
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is NURUL HIDAYAH binti Muhammad SUHAIMI, matric number BLAL21065469. The word akal comes from the Arabic word. This Arabic word is pronounced as akala. Akal means intellect or reason or to restrain. The word akal also refers to the mind. As stated in Surah Al-Isra, verse 70, we have honored the sons of Adam, provided them with transport on land and sea, given them for sustenance things good and pure, and confer on them special favors above a great part of our creation. This verse explains that humans have been blessed with distinct reason and intelligence by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is one of the things that differentiates us from animals. The functions of akal or mind is that it is used to ascertain the truth from falsehood. The Quran has always encouraged the use of akal as a tool for thinking that should be used appropriately to achieve positive outcomes and knowledge.
Welcome. In this part, we'll discuss about the purpose of protection of intellect. I'm your presenter, CHUN, and my matching number is BLL21055455, and I am from the group for number 5. Before we determine the purpose of protection of intellect of SIANG, we must understand the rule of intellect. The rule of intellect can be divided as follows. First, reflection. Second, thought and planning. The rule under reflection is to recognize and reflect on the signs around us to arrive at the truth. And the rule under thought and planning is to think and plan how to live our religious and holy life in the best way possible. So, the purpose of protection of intellect could also be divided with the same dimension, which are the obligation of learning and the obligation of planning and reflection. First, the obligation of learning. Intellect can be developed only through the learning process, and only the person who has intellect can learn effectively. It's also our duty to maintain our intellect to ensure we are able to learn and teach the next generation. Based on the Holy Quran, verse 4:43, Allah said, "O you who believe, do not observe the contract prayers while intoxicated, so that you know what you are saying." The God in the verse wants human beings to be far away from intoxication, to maintain their consciousness when they are practicing contract prayers. It is because contract prayers are one of the opportunity of human being to learn about the Holy Quran. Next, the obligation of planning and reflection. First, we'll talk about the reflection. The purpose of protecting intellect is to ensure the human being is able to recognize the truth. Based on the Holy Quran, verse 168, Allah said, "O people, eat from the earth's product, all that is lawful and good, and do not follow the step of Satan. He is most ardent enemy." This verse is to prevent the human being from following the step of Satan. So this demands the intellect to differentiate the lawful and good things and the step of Satan. And it's essential for us to protect our intellect to make sure we are able to differentiate them. The next one, planning. Another purpose of protecting intellect is to enable human beings in planning for common good. Based on the Holy Quran, verse 190, Allah said, "In the creation of heavens and the earth, and the alternation of night and day, there are signs of those who possess intelligence." This verse showed that intellect is able to plan, design, and create things. Thus, it is important for the human being to maintain their own intellect, to make sure they are able to plan and consider some things and plan without sacrificing the benefit of others. In conclusion, it's clear that every human being should protect their own intellect to ensure we are able to learn and teach knowledge with the obligation of learning. Plan for the common good which is the obligation of planning, and recognize the truth, which is the obligation of reflection. Thank you. That's all for me. Bye.
Thank you, Ricky. Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is NAJLA binti HAIZAR and my matric number is 067613. Today I will explain to you about the advantages of protecting al-aqli. Allah SWT has prohibited Muslims from intoxicants and other such things that could disrupt one's intellect. The intoxication includes alcohol, drugs, cannabis, herbal hookah, and other things that cause an addiction. The Quran mentioned that Allah SWT prohibits intoxication if it's unlawful, but allows them if it's for lawful use. The picture above gives meaning that if an individual uses intoxicants with the intention to put themselves in a state of intoxication, one shall be punished. However, if one is using it as medication or benefits to themselves, then no punishment shall be done. It is also mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 90, which means, O believers, intoxicants, gambling, idols, and drawing lots for decisions are all evil of Satan's handiwork. So shun them so you may be successful. It then continued in the verse 91, which means, Satan's plan is to stir up hostility and hatred between you with intoxicants and gambling, and to prevent you from remembering Allah and praying. Will you not then abstain? This brings meaning to why the intoxicants are prohibited and is to protect onekind from doing all the evil when they are not in the right state of mind. Taking intoxicants could not only drive away from God but also from oneself. This means that when an individual does not take any intoxicants, he or she can think wisely whenever he or she should make a decision or have to be in a logically thinking state. The benefits from not taking intoxicants is that oneself will not do evil when in an unaware situation and will not regret anything that he or she has done in that state. This is because even if he or she was in an unaware situation, he or she will still be punished. Next, in Surah Sabah verse 46, it means that if one uses their intellect, only then they would realize the message that God presents to them is for their own benefit and self-development. The important point of preventing yourself from protecting one's intellect is that one's deen is based on responsibilities and one's action, which means if it is also based on responsibility of one's thought. Other than that, it's because people can lose their ability thinking when it comes to hear miraculous and supernatural stories in Islam. Therefore, the prohibition is to let humans understand by using their intellect and that they can use their logic to understand things. In other words, prohibition of intoxicants is to let the Muslims become independent thinkers, and as mentioned in Surah Al-Imran verse 139, be not then faint of heart and grieve not, for you are bound to rise high if you are truly believers, which means that if Muslims become a believer, then no nation could easily dominate them. That is all from me. Now let's move on to ADNEE for her explanation on the disadvantages.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and greetings everyone. So let's proceed with the things that strengthen al-aqlu. But before that, let me introduce myself. I'll be the presenter for this subtopic. My name is ADNEE binti KHALIL and my matrix number is 066453. Anything that puts al-aqlu in jeopardy is discouraged, prevented, and forbidden. Threats to al-aqlu include the following, which the three things that I'll be focusing on today's presentation, which are the first one, alcohol, drugs, and intoxicant. Secondly, negative thoughts. And thirdly, consuming unhealthy foods and drinks. Alcohol, drugs, and intoxicants. One of the definitions given for intellect was a mind's ability to apply information to a problem-solving situation. Naturally, when someone is inebriated, this skill is temporarily impaired. They lose control of their behavior. From a scientific standpoint, drugs and alcohol influence the brain's neurotransmitter, causing an excess of dopamine to be released, resulting in transient pleasure and euphoria. The brain adapts to the amount of drugs or alcohol consumed over time, making the sought-after substance or activity less pleasurable. Large amount of alcohol, especially when drank fast and on an empty stomach, can cause a blackout, which is defined as a period of time during which the intoxicated individual is unable to recollect important facts or even complete events. Next will be negative thoughts. A practice of extended negative thinking, according to the study, impairs your brain ability to think, reason, and form memories, essentially depleting the resources of your brain. Another study published in the journal American Academy of Neurology indicated that cynicism increased the risk of dementia. Not only that, negative thinking causes unhappiness with the world, ourselves, and the future. It contributes to a lack of self-esteem. It gives the impression of being worthless in this world. Psychologists link that negative thinking has been linked to depression, anxiety, persistent concern, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. And last but not least, consuming unhealthy foods and drinks. You are what you eat, they say. Eating a good diet can help you live longer. However, the inverse is also true. In fact, too much junk food might impair your body and brain if you are between the ages of 10 and 19. Junk food alters the brain of adolescents, impairing their ability to think, learn, and recall. Consumption of unhealthy foods can harm the brain, impacting emotions and memory. For instance, sugary diets not only raise the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, but also raise the chance of Alzheimer's disease. Furthermore, Muslims are not only expected to eat halal, but also good food, which known as halalan tayyiban, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Al-Quran, chapter 2, verse 168. O humanity, eat only from what is lawful and good on the earth, and do not follow Satan's footsteps. He is truly your sworn and enemy. So now, I'll pass the floor to my colleague.